If a door you've never opened suddenly remembers your name. Run. Emma didn't know that rule. So when she heard her dead grandmother whisper her name from behind a locked door at 2:17 a.m., she stepped closer instead of running. The storm outside was violent, but what waited behind that door was quiet, too quiet, like it had been listening for her footsteps for years. And the moment she whispered, "Who's there?" the voice answered, "You know me, Emma. Let me out." From that second on, her biggest mistake wasn't hearing the voice. It was responding to it. The storm hit the house just as Emma arrived, fast, vicious, and unnervingly timed, as if it had been waiting for her return. Her grandmother's home stood deep in the woods, surrounded by trees that shook violently in the wind, like they were trying to warn her. Inside, the house felt too still, like every wall was holding its breath. The lights flickered. The grandfather clock in the hall froze at 2:17 a.m. Then came the knock, soft, slow, purposeful, from the forbidden door at the end of the hallway, the one sealed shut her entire childhood. The one her grandmother always warned her about. If it knocks, you don't. But tonight, the knocking didn't stop. Knock, 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 knock. Emma approached, step by trembling step. The air around the door felt colder, heavier, as though it was pulling heat straight out of her lungs. Then she heard it. "Emma, sweetheart." Her grandmother's voice, perfectly familiar, completely impossible. Emma whispered, "Grandma." Silence. Then the voice shifted, strained, cracking, almost excited. "She locked me away. But she's not here to protect you anymore." The doorknob twisted on its own. The ancient lock snapped, and the door burst open with a sound like the house exhaling after decades of holding something inside. Darkness spilled into the hallway. Emma turned and ran, but the house felt tighter now, like the walls were shrinking to keep her from escaping. Footsteps followed, slow, heavy, getting closer. Then a whisper slid through the crack beneath her door. "You look just like her when she ran." Emma froze, and behind her, inside her room's closet, tap, tap, tap. Something else answered. For the next hour, Emma sat frozen on her bedroom floor, listening to the duet of terror. The heavy footsteps paced the hallway, their rhythm a slow, taunting march. Inside her closet, the tapping continued, a frantic, desperate counter-rhythm. It was a language she didn't understand, but the meaning was clear. One was hunting, and the other was hiding. Or maybe they were communicating. The thought made her skin crawl. The house, her childhood sanctuary, had become a cage with two predators. She didn't know which one was worse, the thing that wore her grandmother's voice, or the unknown entity trapped in the closet with her. The pacing outside finally stopped. A profound silence fell over the house, more terrifying than the noise it replaced. Emma held her breath, straining to hear anything: a creak, a footstep, a breath. Nothing, even the tapping from the closet, had ceased. Slowly, cautiously, she crawled across the floor, her eyes locked on the closet door. Was it safe? Was it gone? Or was it just waiting? She reached for her phone, her fingers shaking so violently it took 3 tries to unlock it. No service, of course. Just as she was about to give up hope, she remembered the old landline in her grandmother's study, tucked away at the back of the house. It was a long shot, but it was her only one. The journey to the study felt like miles. Every shadow seemed to stretch and twist. Every floorboard threatened to betray her with a groan. The hallway was empty. The forbidden door stood wide open, a black, gaping maw leading to a darkness that felt solid. She averted her eyes, refusing to look inside, and scurried past it, her heart pounding a frantic drum against her ribs. She slipped into the study, closing the door as silently as she could. The room smelled of old books and dried lavender, a scent so normal it was almost painful. The landline sat on the heavy oak desk, a relic from another time. She lifted the receiver, her hopes soaring as she heard a dial tone. Her fingers fumbled as she punched in 911. The line clicked. It rang once, twice, then a voice answered. But it wasn't an operator. It was a low, guttural whisper, the same one from the hallway, now distorted through the phone line. "There's no one to call, Emma. We're all family here." A strangled cry escaped her throat. She slammed the phone down, her last hope extinguished. The voice hadn't just been in the hall. It was in the walls. It was in the wires. It was everywhere. She backed away from the desk, her eyes darting around the room, searching for an escape, a weapon, anything. Her gaze fell on her grandmother's journal, left open on a reading stand. The last entry was dated the day before her grandmother died. The handwriting was jagged, frantic. It read, "It's getting stronger. It wears my face now, speaks with my voice. It learned from my memories. But the one in the closet, the real one, is weaker. I had to lock them both away. The door holds the copy. The closet holds the original. Whatever you do, don't let them meet. One is a reflection of the other. And if they reunite, not even these walls will hold them." Emma's blood ran cold. The tapping in her closet wasn't a second monster. It was a victim. It was her grandmother. The thing in the hallway was an imposter, a copy that had been feeding on the real thing, growing stronger. Suddenly, the study door creaked open. Standing in the doorway was a figure that looked exactly like her grandmother, the soft, wrinkled face, the kind eyes, the floral dress. But the smile was wrong. It was too wide, stretched unnaturally, and the eyes held a hungry, predatory glint. "There you are, sweetheart," the figure cooed, its voice a perfect imitation. I was so worried. It took a step inside. Emma scrambled backward, knocking over a stack of books. The figure's smile widened. "Don't you want a hug from your grandma?" "You're not her," Emma whispered, her voice trembling. The figure's face flickered, the illusion momentarily distorting into something monstrous and gaunt, before snapping back into place. "She's gone," it hissed, its voice dropping to the guttural whisper from the phone. "But I remember everything she loved, especially you." It lunged forward. Emma screamed and threw the heavy desk lamp at it. The figure swatted it aside like a fly. She didn't wait to see more. She bolted from the room, not away from the monster, but towards the only place she could think of, her bedroom, towards the closet. She burst into the room and ran straight to the closet, her hands fumbling with the knob. "Grandma," she cried, her voice cracking with desperation. "I'm here. I'm sorry." She wrenched the closet door open. Inside, huddled in the far corner, was a frail, spectral figure, barely visible, shimmering like a heat haze. It looked like her grandmother, but faded and translucent, its eyes wide with terror. It was weak, almost gone. Behind her, the heavy footsteps of the impostor stomped down the hall, getting closer and closer. "You can't save her, Emma." The false voice boomed. "She's mine." The real grandmother looked at Emma, her expression one of deep sorrow and love. She raised a trembling, transparent hand and pointed not at the door, but at the window. Escape. That was her last gift. The impostor was at the bedroom door now, its form casting a grotesque shadow that filled the frame. Nowhere left to run, it snarled. Emma didn't hesitate. She gave her real grandmother one last tearful look, then turned and threw herself at the window. The glass shattered. The storm roared in. For a second, she was falling, the wind and rain lashing at her face. Then she hit the soft, muddy ground below. She scrambled to her feet, ignoring the searing pain in her ankle and the cuts from the glass. She ran without looking back, the sounds of a monstrous shriek and a house beginning to tear itself apart fading behind her. She didn't stop running until the sun came up and the woods gave way to a road. She never knew what happened when the two figures finally met, when the copy found its original. Some things are better left unknown. But she knew one thing for sure. Some doors are locked for a reason.